What's going on, guys? It's your average consumer, and today we're going to be checking out the brand new MacBook Pro 13-inch model for 2020. I know a lot of us were expecting a 14-inch model, kind of like what we saw with the 16-inch model that came out that replaced the 15, but sadly there's no changes there. We do have the 13-inch model with the overall body that we're used to. But before we jump into all of the things that Apple changed, let's take a quick look at the unboxing experience when you pick one of these guys up. Now, of course, you get that standard minimalist Apple packaging where you just peel off the plastic, open up the lid, and you get access to the goods. Now, of course, the first thing that you're greeted with is that 13-inch MacBook. And I gotta say, as somebody who uses the 16-inch model as a daily driver, it's just crazy to me how much smaller and more portable this thing is. Not that I'll ever give up using a 16-inch model because of the things I need to do for work, but man, 13 inches is really portable. Now, I've been seeing how this overall size is just so much more portable with the more recent MacBook Air, but to have the power of the MacBook Pro in that 13-inch body, it's insane. But we'll talk about the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro in just a second. Back to the unboxing. You get past the MacBook, then you'll find, of course, your paperwork where you'll find your quick start guide, of course, some Apple stickers if you want to put them anywhere. And under that, you'll get your USB-C cable to charge it, as well as the charging brick. And honestly, this is just very Apple-esque. There's not much more to the packaging. That's pretty much what you get inside of the box. I gotta say, I just love the experience of opening up a MacBook for the first time. You rip off that plastic, and then you open the lid, and it automatically turns on. That's just a really nice touch. I like the way Apple does that. But let's talk about what makes this thing different from last year's model. And as I said before, guys, this is still the same overall 13-inch model that we're used to. But of course, Apple has added the Magic Keyboard to this guy. So now pretty much all of the MacBook Pros in the line have this new keyboard. So we're talking the new 16-inch MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air that was recently dropped, and now, of course, the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So that means no more butterfly switches. If you were ever on the fence about buying a MacBook because it had that keyboard, you no longer have to worry. The Magic Keyboard is leagues and leagues better. You just get a better typing experience. You feel the travel on the keys as you're typing things. It just feels more tactile, and you don't have to worry about durability as much because the butterfly switch keyboards, you know, things were a little shaky with that, but for these, you're gonna have a much better experience overall, and the typing on it is just as good as you'd want it to be. Now, in terms of changes on the physical side of things, that's just about it. But Apple did, of course, upgrade the internals as well, and they made a better value proposition compared to last year. Now, Apple has doubled the storage options on the new 13-inch MacBook Pros, and there are two different kind of MacBook Pros that you should be aware of for the 13-inch model. There's a base model that has only two Thunderbolt 3 ports, and that one starts with 256 gigs of storage, which used to be 128. And there's also a 4 Thunderbolt 3 version, which starts at 512 compared to the 256 of last year. And if you're confused about which of the two versions you should get, you just gotta keep in mind what kind of things you're gonna be attaching to your computer. If you're not gonna be putting a bunch of Thunderbolt 3 accessories like displays and SSDs and that kind of thing, you go with the 2. If you do plan on using it to do a lot of work and you wanna eventually build out how you use your MacBook, you might wanna go with the 4, but you know how you'll use it better than I do. You can make the choice for yourself. They've also doubled the memory, with the base model starting with 16 gigs of RAM with the option to go up to 32 gigs. So if you want to throw a bunch of programs at this thing, 32 gigs is going to handle that with no problem. Even if you don't, 16 gigs is a very, very comfortable place for macOS. And of course, Apple added some options with updated CPUs. So now you can get like 10th generation Intel processors with integrated graphics. So if you want to do some work with graphics, you're going to see some improvements here compared to last year's model. Now, there are just so many options in the new MacBook lineup. You might be curious, which one should you get? The 13-inch model is that middle ground, of course. If you want to have some power, but you also want that portability, you go for 13 inches. Now, this isn't gonna give you the power or anywhere close to what the 16-inch can really do, but if you're not someone who's gonna be doing a ton of intensive work, this might be the one you wanna look at. But if you're looking for something that you just wanna web browse with and, you know, just kind of take places on the go and not do anything crazy, you wanna be looking at the MacBook Air. Now, when you start comparing that new MacBook Air to the 13-inch model, a lot of things might look really similar on paper, but trust me, they're pretty different. The MacBook Pro is definitely a lot more powerful, whereas the MacBook Air, I feel like that's more of the casual user, the everyday person who just wants a MacBook to take places and, you know, just do light web browsing, nothing too serious. You know how to use it. If you have no plans on doing anything really serious with the computer, that's where you want to lean. But if you do use intensive programs or you have aspirations to use them, maybe you want to do some video editing down the line or something, you never know what you'll get into, you want to have that room, then you'll go for the MacBook Pro. Also, you get a better screen on the MacBook Pro than you do with the MacBook Air. So if you're doing anything like photo editing where you're doing any kind of creative work and the colors really matter, this is a better option because it has that better screen. You'll also get a faster SSD with the MacBook Pro. I ran some Blackmagic tests and the SSD is substantially faster. So if you want to open up movies, do different things with files, transferring and all that kind of stuff, the MacBook Pro is a different beast compared to the Air. So you know what, I'll just break it down and make it really simple if you're confused about which of the three you should get. The MacBook Air is straight up portability. Of course, it's reliable just like all the other ones in the line, but it's all about portability and just ease of use and grabbing it and going, doing whatever you need to do real quick. While the MacBook Pro, you get that same portability, but you get a little bit more power. If you plan on doing anything a bit more serious, you get options with that 13-inch MacBook Pro. But if you plan on speccing it out and making it over the top, you gotta consider the 16-inch MacBook Pro because that's the beast. That's the one where you can get some really serious work done. That's what I personally use when I'm doing my video editing and I need to take my stuff home with me. Do it all on the MacBook Pro 16-inch model. So if you've already got that job where you plan on doing some really heavy lifting, 16-inch model is what you need. So it pretty much works on a scale of portability to power. So the more power you need, the more you go down the scale. So you pick what's best for you. But what do you guys think of the MacBook lineup? Are you bummed that we didn't get a 14-inch model? That might come down the line, who knows? Hopefully this video is helpful and giving you some insight into which ones you should be looking at in the whole lineup. But if you enjoyed this video, be the cool guy or girl that gives this video a thumbs up. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace.